Okay, to format the cells นะครับ we highlight the cell first, right click and then choose format cells. We have to go to number tabs, choose currency นะครับ in here I leave the decimal places like this first นะครับ and then I may fix it later on. After that I just find a symbol that match with what I need. Suppose I say that I just like scroll down to choose THB. Yeah, okay. So you can see that we don't have any decimal points at all. Then I just like I can eliminate the decimal points display. So in order to eliminate decimal points or to decrease decimal points, we have two ways นะครับ to do it easily. First one, you just go to right click format cells and then just like decrease decimal places, or you can use a shortcut in the home tab นะครับ if you go to the number group you can see that right now you are in the currency นะครับ unit display and then you can see that we have decimal in this one is increase, the other is decrease, so we may choose decrease from here นะครับ so now it doesn't display the decimal places, decimal points anymore. Okay, so in this one you get the revenue in Thai baht by having the relative reference already. The next thing นะครับ that we are going to do is that we will try นะครับ we will try having the relative reference by multiplying the revenue in US dollars with the currency exchange cell that we set up before. In here, if you remember, I type the currency exchange 32.55 in here, right? Let's try. If we multiply revenue in US dollars by currency exchange here, instead of typing in this one is I1, right? C3 times I1. I may just type equal sign and then I use my mouse to click on the cell that I want to refer นะครับ this one I use C3 times I1. You can see that right now C3 is in blue, I1 is in red นะครับ so that you can see which cell you are referencing right now. You can see that in here it shows the same number นะครับ okay, doesn't matter about don't worry about the format now. Let's see the number in here, it's the same. So that means instead of typing 32.55 in the formula, you may use a referencing instead. This one is good นะครับ instead of typing the fixed value like 32.55, because one day if you found that the currency exchange is not 32.55 anymore, you can just like I mean in this one นะครับ in column D, if you want to change the value from 32.55 to some other currency exchange rate, you have to just like edit every single cell and then change it. But in this one นะครับ in column E, it's easy because right now you refer นะครับ to two cells, and one day if the currency exchange นะครับ is not 32.55 anymore, you just go to the cell I1 to change the currency exchange here once, and then every cell should be changed นะครับ automatically. Okay, now let's see. Everyone have just like just calculate the revenue in Thai baht by using the referencing with the revenue in US dollars and currency exchange ครับ I give you 1 minute to do that.
Hello, can
Yes.
you repeat that again?
Repeat what?
Repeat what you just said. The
About
thing that
what?
you want us to do.
or I want you to find out the revenue in Thai baht by using relative reference like this for every other sales นะครับ in February to December. I want you to have this by using the formula like this. Do you get the same value as in column D or not? Okay, times up นะครับ Okay, yeah, so I have some response นะครับ from some of you in the chat box. One of you said yes, but I can't use autofill. Another one said for me it said 0. Right. You can see that when I did, when I did, it just like show the same. I just I get the same value as the column D. Why you didn't get that? Okay, just show you a bit. Because when I calculate, I did it one cell at a time. Sorry, I did it one cell at a time like this, so that's why I get it. But if I don't do this, but I copy the cell down there, the rest of them will be shown as 0. Why is that? Have a look on February revenue. It is C4 times I2. You can see that I2 is not our currency exchange. It is just a blank. So that's why it shows you as 0 instead. Next, in March, it is revenue in March that is in C5 times I3. Why is that? The reason is because in your formula you have relative reference, and as I told you earlier, for relative reference, if you copy that cell down like this, C3 will be C4. This one from I1 to be I2 to be I3, I4, and so on. That's why it is not correct for the answer that you have got like this. Like the last one, December revenue is C14 times I12. This is not what we want. For revenue in US dollars, it's correct. But for the currency exchange, this cell is not correct one. But we still want to use that cell I1. What should we do? So somebody said, I will go to just like change every cell later. Firstly, I just like copy first. After that, I double click and change from I2 to I1. Sorry, from I2 to I1. I3 to I1 and so on, something like that. No one does like this, it wastes the time. So the correct way to do is that you have to understand about absolute reference. Absolute reference is another kind of referencing that you can refer to another cell. Sorry, you can refer to a cell, and that cell is fixed or have the absolute. That means the value of that cell will never be changed. The location of that cell will never be changed if you use absolute reference. What is absolute reference and relative reference is different. In terms of appearance, they are a bit similar, but they also have the difference as well. So now let's have a look for the what to say, relative reference. If you want to refer to the cell I1, you just type I1 like this, right? But for the relative reference, sorry, for the absolute reference, you have to put $sign in front of the row and column you would like to fix, or would you like to lock. If you want to lock the referencing to the cell I1 only. You have to apply $1 to lock this cell นะครับ okay so once you apply $,นะครับ to that referencing already we call it as absolute reference because from now on นะครับ once you copy this value นะครับ or once you copy this referencing anywhere it will always be I1 นะครับ without changing now let's try together in the first month นะครับ January revenue in this one instead of having I1 you apply $, in front of I and in front of 1 นะครับ you have to apply $, in both นะครับ otherwise if you apply just like $, I and then 1 only you lock the column you don't lock the row นะครับ okay I'll show you next on okay in here when you lock the cell to be I1 already so that means the I1 is using the absolute reference in here นะครับ you still get the same value now if you copy down other cells นะครับ you have the value that is matching with just like the manual calculation with the referencing multiplied by 32.55 นะครับ now let's see in the column E นะครับ revenue in Thai baht here if you have a look you can see that the first cell นะครับ on the left hand side นะครับ is moving because we are using relative reference while the right hand side นะครับ is still I1 นะครับ always so this is what we call absolute reference when we use $, to apply to a specific reference it becomes the absolute reference นะครับ what if นะครับ what if you just like apply $, at column I only but you don't enter $, for row what will happen in this case it means you lock the column if you copy it's still 0 anyway because it become I2 I3 I4 I5 นะครับ because in here you can see that you don't lock the row นะครับ that's why it's still moving down so that's why in this case you have to lock both column and row so that you can get the lock of this cell only all right okay for the absolute reference here do you have any questions okay so if you don't have any questions นะครับ let me move on to the next example we are still in referencing นะครับ so for the referencing here it's not just to refer to a cell in the same worksheet but it's also be able to apply this idea นะครับ to different worksheet นะครับ or in different workbook as well นะครับ for the referencing okay then นะครับ the next one that I want you to do นะครับ is that if we would like to have the revenue นะครับ in 2021 so I want you to do this one for me I want you to find out the revenue of 2021 by yourself นะครับ where the revenue of 2021 is 10% increasing from those in 2020 okay calculate column F for me ครับ okay so finish it in this one นะครับ okay that's good ครับ Manaswi okay right okay so in this one you just refer to the revenue in US dollars in 2020 นะครับ and then you just multiply by นะครับ 1.1 นะครับ multiply by 1.1 that means it is increasing by 10% นะครับ multiply by 1.1 or multiply by 110%, the same thing นะครับ okay, these are just like the calculation of revenue in 2021 นะครับ okay, so in this one when you have this one already, okay, I forgot to change the format of revenue in Thai baht where I use the absolute referenceนะครับ. Okay, let me just change a bit, change from dollar sign to the Thai baht. All right, so after we have this oneนะครับ, let me just like show you how to format the cell more a bitนะครับ. You can see that in column E it's very wide especially when I type using absolute reference like this, and if I just like narrow down the column the word using absolute value is just like hidden as well. So what if I want to have like the revenue in Thai baht using absolute reference to be displayed while the width of the column is narrower? So in this one I have to useนะครับ the features that is called as wrap text นะครับ to wrap text. So I just like choose the cellsนะครับ that I want to wrap it นะครับ to wrap the text inside. After that I go to home tab and then choose in the alignment, choose wrap text นะครับ. Okay, I click on wrap text on the cell E2. So right now if I just narrow down the width of the columnนะครับ, sorry, it's the wrap text here. It is just like can be displayed in the same in that width, but unfortunately the height of the row is too short. Then I have to higher up the row a bit here. Okay, here it can be displayedนะครับ, for the specific width that I set up alreadyนะครับ. I have to use the wrap text. For other cells that I didn't do the wrap text, like for example in D2 the revenue in Thai baht like this, if I just like make it narrowนะครับ, it cannot be displayed because I didn't wrap the text in here except I click wrap text. So this is just like basic things, basic setup that you may be able to use. Okay, now let's see. We will just like use the way in order to do the referencingนะครับ, into another worksheet. What should we do? In this oneนะครับ, before we go to that one, let me show you first that if you have the contentนะครับ, inside one worksheet and you want to copy everything into another worksheet, what should we do? Somebody does like this. They highlight, copy, and then they go to another sheet and then they paste something like thatนะครับ. It might be possibleนะครับ, in some way, but in this one I say that I want to copy everythingนะครับ. I want to copy everything from this worksheetนะครับ. I want to copy this everything from this worksheet. The things that we have to doนะครับ, in order to copy the whole worksheet is that we have to right clickนะครับ, on the sheetนะครับ. We have to right click on the sheet revenue 2020 and then choose in the context menu move or copy, choose create a copyนะครับ, choose create a copy. This will copy the whole worksheet to be in another sheet called revenue 2020 copy number 2 นะครับ. This one everything is absolutely the sameนะครับ, because sometimes when you copy, for example if you copy this you may forgot to copy like the text down there, something like thatนะครับ. But if you just like use copy the whole worksheetนะครับ, like this, it copies everything including the textนะครับ, in here as well. Okay, right. So I will change from revenue 2020 copy 2 to be revenue 2021 first. And then I just like delete what I don't want. For example, in here, I don't want column D. I choose column D first, right click and then delete. And the last column, revenue in 2021 in US dollars, I don't want it. In here, I will just like use the referencing. I'll use the referencing from another worksheet instead. Okay, in here, right? Okay. So you can see that actually revenue of 2021 we calculated before in the worksheet revenue 2020, but it's here, right? Okay, so how do we gonna refer using the referencing across the worksheet? The way to do is that, okay, we know that the revenue in 2021 is in column F of revenue 2020, right? Okay, so in this one, I go to the cell that I want to place the referencing to. In here, it's in worksheet 2021, right? I just press equal sign. And after that, I click on revenue 2020 worksheet, go to the cell that I want to copy the value. For example, I want to copy the value from cell F3. Yeah, and then I press enter. This is a referencing as well. So you can see that if you see the formula, it is equal sign followed by revenue 2020 in the quote. That is worksheet name, followed by exclamation mark and F3. The referencing is F3 from worksheet to revenue 2020, and F3 is the relative reference because it doesn't have $sign to lock. That means if you copy the formula down, there will be F4, F5, F6, and so on. Here. So it's here. The F14 in here will be also copied to this one. Okay. Right. And after that, it will be automatically calculated for revenue in Thai baht by having the referencing like this, because it has automatically like this. Okay. So now we learn how to copy the worksheet, and we learn how to do the referencing in different across the different worksheet already. So on the next class, I'm going to talk about some more things about like the calculation in terms of referencing a bit, and then we start talking about the chart in Microsoft Excel, and we'll start talking about some other functions. Okay. Right. Okay, then I'll stop my lecture at this point. So up to this point, do you have any questions?
Hi, Ajahn. Will you post the recordings?
For the recording, it will be around 1 week in delay, for example, because I have to just like use the rendering time. So for the lecture of this week, I will post it during weekends because it has to take some time. Okay, yeah, I can post for you. And the place where I'll post, the link will be in e-learning. You may check over there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the way I did, let me just like show you again for the way that we did. So firstly, you have to know first where you will copy this value from. For example, in here, the revenue is in of 2021 is located in another sheet. Revenue 2020 in the cell F3. Okay, so the way to do is that I put equal sign and go to revenue 2020 worksheet and F3 นะครับ and then I just press enter then this one it comes already นะครับ I recommend you not to type the worksheet name นะครับ you better just like click and choose นะครับ because if you type in and you type wrongly it will not work for example if I type by myself like this you can see that this one is okay but if I just type it wrongly here it doesn't show up already because I don't have revenue 2020 the sheet name is revenue space 2020 something like that so that's why นะครับ you better just like click to choose the location something like that okay right okay any other questions so far so if you don't have any question นะครับ just save your file นะครับ just save your file and on the next class we will just like continue using this this data